What's up, everybody? It's Alex Leak and Friends NFL podcast back for another week. I'm your host, Alex Leak. We got Dustin back on the show. Dustin, good to have you back on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro, as always.
And we got Bret back on the show. Bret, good to have you back on, man. This is a great week to have you back on the show.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back here with an exciting end of the season.
Yeah, a lot of fun. It's really coming down to the wire. We get an extra week this year compared to the recent history or the long history of the league. So 18 weeks of football. But this will be the week 16 recap. And we're going to start this episode out with the unfortunate passing of legendary coach and broadcaster John Madden, a former Super Bowl champion and the winningest coach in Raiders history. He's never had a losing season, and a legendary broadcaster from 1979 until 2009. Dustin, how shocked were you about the sudden passing of John Madden?
Yeah, I mean, I was very shocked, and yeah, first of all, rest in peace, coach. Legend. The man was in his own category when it came to pro football.
Yeah, after the special on Madden on Christmas, it was kind of crazy and shocking to see him go today. Bret, John Madden, an absolute legend, coach and broadcaster, along with the video game. What do you think of John Madden's passing today?
Well, it's sad. It's unfortunate. It seemed like that the timing of what you just spoke about on Christmas was almost like a salute.
Yeah.
And he's been had a huge impact on the game and the sport of football. So it's a sad day, and hopefully they can finish out the season well, because they'll definitely be looking down.
Yeah, absolutely, and an absolute legend. I mean, for us kids, in our generation who grew up playing the Madden video game, and that played a huge part in our passion and love for the game. So shout out to John Madden for everything he did for the game. One of those guys that you can tell truly loved the sport and put everything he had into it. And his legacy is going to last well beyond his life. His legacy is going to last forever. Like they said, legends never die.
My first ever football game was John Madden and Al Michaels, and I'll never forget it.
Yeah, and I think back to being a kid and Thanksgiving and John Madden, and even going back to John Madden and Pat Summerall, and the iconic voices, and someone that we grew up, watching on the television. So shout out John Madden, rest in peace, and your legend lives forever. Let's get into this week of football. So Thursday night, Bret, the Niners at the Titans. Last week we talked about it on the podcast. The Niners came in hot, and the Titans weren't playing their best football, but the Titans responded. They got both A.J. Brown and Julio Jones back, and that seemed to play a major role in the game. Ryan Tannehill had a great game. Big win for the Titans over the Niners, 20-17. After being down 10-0 at halftime. What do you think of the Titans, Dustin? Bret, getting healthy at the right time, and they're expected to get Derrick Henry back right before the playoffs. Do you think these Titans can be a contender in the AFC?
Yeah, with the way that they're playing right now, like you said, with all the injuries and everything, Henry is looking to come back week 18, it seems like.
Yeah.
So they can powerhouse, through. They're one win away or one Colts loss away, I think, from the division. So they have a chance to be able to make a run here in the playoffs if they continue to play the way that they're playing, with the collective group that they have, and especially when Henry comes back. Obviously, he's probably not going to be the same immediately, but he's still going to have a huge impact on the game. So, yeah, it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, Dustin, if you remember me last week saying that Mike Vrabel is one of my favorite coaches in the game, and I think this Thursday night game was a good example of that. How they came out and they got shut out in the first half. They were down 10-0 and couldn't do anything offensively. But Mike Vrabel did a good job at halftime of changing the mindset and halftime adjustments, and they came out firing in the second half. What do you think of this Titans team? I think if they get healthy going into January, they're, in my opinion, they're a contender. Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, they showed me a lot on Thursday. I had thought, after losing Henry that they might have a big fall towards the end of the season, but like you said, Brown came back in the game, and so did Julio Jones, and Tannehill played great. And if they can add Derrick Henry, I think they could be dangerous.
I mean, what are your thoughts on A.J. Brown? He's one of the top receivers in the game. You could see that impact on not only, his game, but Ryan Tannehill's game is so much better with a healthy A.J. Brown.
Absolutely. I mean, the Titans, when healthy, I believe they have maybe the second or third best receiving core in the National Football League.
Yeah. And not to forget, was it Nick Akina Westbrook or Westbrook Akina is a solid, third option too. Bret, what did you think of the Niners? They're a pretty good team, but they got some quarterback issues. Jimmy Garoppolo with some turnovers that really hurt the Niners in this game. And then Jimmy Garoppolo hurts his thumb on his throwing hand. He looks to have a ligament tear and a fracture. So now we're looking at Trey Lance coming in. What are your expectations for a rookie Trey Lance trying to get this Niners team into the playoffs?
I mean, I don't exactly have high expectations. If he can kind of play the quarterback controller, controlling the game, just playing his part, knowing his role, they can maybe, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure because I was very skeptical about them when they had Garoppolo. So
yeah,
it's right here at the end of the season too. It's crunch time. It's going to be tough for him to come in there and perform under pressure like that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know whether he can do it or not, but this is why they drafted Trey Lance, is for these moments, is to take this team to the next level. And they went to the Super Bowl with Garoppolo, but you could always sense that they needed something extra out of the quarterback position. Dustin, what do you think? Garoppolo is not perfect, and he had some turnovers. So maybe, do you think Garoppolo is holding him back, and Trey Lance can give him a higher ceiling? And if you look at them, they're a solid defense. They got a solid running game. They got Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. Can Trey Lance give them that next step? And maybe if they sneak in as like a 7 seed, maybe they can do some damage in the playoffs. What do you think?
I mean, in my opinion, I haven't seen, obviously, none of us have really seen much of Trey Lance this season. And it's kind of rough to have to come in and, have all that pressure on your shoulders. So
yeah,
I don't really know what to say, but I mean, I would still rather prefer Jimmy G in this situation, being a veteran.
Yeah. Well, there's a chance this could be the last we see of Garoppolo in San Francisco. This is a pretty nasty thumb injury. He's likely out the rest of the regular season, and we'll see what the Niners decide to do if they get into the playoffs, where they go Garoppolo or Lance, and how Lance plays to end the season. The good news is they play at home against a bad Texans team, so this will be a nice warm-up game for Trey Lance. He should be able to be successful against a bad Texans team, but the Texans can force the turnovers and stuff, so we'll see. Bret, real quick, we saw Niners GM John Lynch like a tweet after this game saying, leave Jimmy Garoppolo in Nashville. Then, so he came out and apologized and said that was an accidental like, which seems pretty unlikely that of all the tweets you would accidentally like, it's that one. Then Kyle Shanahan said, it's a good thing I don't have Twitter because I might have accidentally liked that tweet as well. So it sounds like the Niners staff, GM and head coach, those aren't very flattering comments about Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Garoppolo's gone in San Francisco based on that. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. Now at this point, they've been talking about trying to get, rid of him or moving on for a couple of
Yeah.
years. And I think now that you have Trey Lance, and this is kind of that, your one guy gets hurt, your future, comes in, and this is his chance to shine here.
I mean, Dustin, what would you think if your GM and head coach say that about you as a starting quarterback? I mean, that's got to be it for Garoppolo right there. The writing's on the wall. That's some pretty damning comments and stuff by the GM and the head coach.
Yeah, and I mean, after that, I believe he's probably absolutely going to be gone. And
Yeah.
John Lynch cannot say that he accidentally just like that. Come on now.
The coincidence, there's no way. Like, yeah, I get that you have to say that, but he purposefully liked that tweet, and he shouldn't have. As a GM, you shouldn't go out and do that, but he did. So now everyone knows how they feel. And for Kyle Shanahan to double down on it and say, if I had a Twitter, I might have done the same thing. That is not what you want to hear if you're Garoppolo. So it's going to be the Trey Lance era, and we'll see what happens there. I look forward to seeing how Trey Lance handles trying to get this team into the playoffs.
I do got to say, though, I think he's going to be a lot better in some ways with being able to extend plays and move and having legs.
I agree. That's why I love the decision when they drafted him, because I think the Niners are already such a good zone run offense that if you add the ability to quarterback option with Trey Lance and run off of that, or the threat of his legs to open up wide open throwing lanes to George Kittle or Deebo Samuel or Brandon Ayuk, this offense has the potential to be pretty damn scary. Do you agree with that, Bret? I mean, Trey Lance could open up the offense even more.
Yeah, if he plays to his ability that they expect him to have, which is probably higher at the quarterback position than Garoppolo. So
yeah,
if they keep that efficiency up where they're at the rest of the, throughout the rest of the team, then yeah, he could propel them.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the Niners finish out the season. They got to go at the Rams in Week 18. That's probably a must win to get into the playoffs. So that's going to be a big ass game. Let's go to Christmas, Saturday football, Christmas football. The Browns at the Packers. I mean, at 7-7, it's like must win football for the Browns the rest of the year. And they go into Lambeau. Baker Mayfield pregame pretty much is indicating that this is the best his shoulders felt in weeks. Missing some time due to COVID, being able to rest up. They get down early. They're down 24-12 at one point. And Dustin, I was thinking, at that point the Packers are just running away with this game. I even said they don't need touchdowns. This game's over. To their credit, the Browns get back into it. But they couldn't get it done in the end. Baker Mayfield throws 3 first-half interceptions to get down and then throws a 4th interception on the final drive. Dustin, what did you think of Baker Mayfield's performance, even in the first half, but overall in this game? Was it good enough to get the win? I don't think so.
Oh, I mean, of course not. Anytime you throw 4 interceptions, you're not playing good enough to win any type of football.
So what did that say about Baker long-term in Cleveland? I mean, I know he's playing through injury right now, but he hasn't been playing very well.
I agree with that, but then again, I just see it as maybe he had a bad game.
Yeah.
And just struggled. I mean, it's the Packers.
It's the biggest game of the year, of all the games you need to win, it's that one.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think Cleveland's done.
What do you think, Bret? I mean, what's your opinion on Baker Mayfield and the Browns organization at this moment? They had AFC Championship game expectations going into the year, and right now it's looking like they might miss the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They're very inconsistent, and doesn't look like they're playing to the level that they need to achieve the goals that they had prior to the season. So it's not all of the aspirations that they had after, that they've had the last few years look like it's starting to crumble.
Is that on Baker Mayfield, or do you think there's more than just that?
I think Mayfield's just not that good.
Yeah. And the Browns, so some Brown fans want to move on from Baker Mayfield already. They say he's not the answer. Some want to hang on to him and give him a new deal and say, look, let's be patient with him. He's the best thing we've had since like Bernie Kosar. So we need him because what do the Browns do if Baker Mayfield's not the answer? Then they got to start over from scratch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's true. And they could give him another shot. I guess I wouldn't say that he's not like done yet, but he hasn't proven himself
Yeah.
to the fullest. So it's hard, to decide what you want to do there.
What do you think on that, Dustin? Would you move on from Baker, or would you give him a reasonable contract and see if you can be patient with him? I mean, Browns are in a very tough situation right now to figure out what their future holds.
Yeah, I mean, if I was the organization and the GM, I would hold on to him and give him that chance, because I would not want to, have history repeat itself and have to go through quarterback after quarterback. So just give Baker Mayfield a second chance.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to be patient and try to get a team-friendly deal on Baker Mayfield's next contract, because, they can't pay him Dak or Mahomes money. So they're going to have to, it's going to be interesting to see how Baker handles it and how the organization handles it. Aaron Rodgers passes Bret Favre for the most touchdown passes in Packers franchise history. He's now at 445. If you think back to when we were kids and Bret Favre set that record, I never thought back then that anyone would pass it, let alone the very next quarterback. This is amazing what Aaron Rodgers has done.
Yeah, Green Bay should be very thankful for what they've had at the quarterback position for the last 30 years. So
yeah,
it's been very generous, and I wouldn't expect much more after this, because they've seen greatness there. So it's something that doesn't happen very often. It did. We probably won't see it again in our lifetime, but he's showing why they were dumb for not, giving him what he wanted or listening to him. And
yeah,
what's going to happen after this season?
Yeah, no, they should be giving him everything he wants there in Green Bay. Dustin, what do you think? I mean, incredible record for Aaron Rodgers to break it. I never thought it was going to happen, but a legend. And to Bret's point, I mean, if this is the last year for Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, for me and Bret, it's a sigh of relief, because it's been 30 years of Hall of Fame quarterback play.
Yeah.
What do you think, Dustin?
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
I mean, just what do you think of the record being broken and Aaron Rodgers' career? I mean, incredible accomplishment to. I don't think any of us thought Bret Favre's record in Green Bay was going to fall that quickly.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is great, and like you said, Hall of Famers, coming in and coming out of that place. So,
Dustin, it's Super Bowl or bust, right? Green Bay fans are not going to be happy. Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be happy. No one's going to be happy with a deep playoff run. It's Super Bowl or bust, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, especially if he wins back-to-back MVPs, you have to win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
And let me say this, how we were talking about Rodgers possibly leaving? I mean, from his post-game interviews lately, he's saying that he's enjoying being in Green Bay. So,
well, I think he's enjoying the moment. I think he is, as a player, you never look too far ahead. You never look too far behind. You're in a playoff race. You're in a championship run. Your focus has to be singularly on winning the Super Bowl. And then I think the tough decisions will come in the postseason when the season's over. If you're Aaron Rodgers, I think right now you're not thinking about next year at all. You're not thinking about leaving. You're thinking about winning the championship, and then you'll start thinking about that. I still think it's a high likelihood of him leaving, but he's not going to talk about that right now. He needs all of his focus on winning the next game and getting to a championship. Do you agree on that, Bret?
Yeah, he's probably. I mean, that's what I would be doing, and that's what he should be doing if he wants, any success or anything to come out of this season.
Yeah.
Worry about what you can control now, and later you can figure everything else out.
I mean, who wouldn't be having fun right now at 12-3, the best record in the NFC? The playoffs are going to have to go through Lambeau. I mean, I would have a smile on my face too if I wasn't a Bears fan.
Do you think this is a must-win for Aaron Rodgers?
What? This
must
season
Super Bowl,
championship? No, he's going to say so, and it is right now, but for his career legacy, I don't think so. I mean, I think if he leaves this offseason and goes somewhere like Denver or Pittsburgh, he might have a better shot there at winning a Super Bowl. I mean, I don't think Green Bay's necessarily loaded with talent. Do you?
They're not, but they have enough talent to do it, I think.
They do, but I mean, it's not win or career stain on his career. It's he would like to leave Green Bay on good terms. If he can deliver the Packers a championship and then go somewhere else and leave on best the best ending ever, then that's the goal. But I don't know, they're absolutely contenders though. They're right there. They have as good a shot as anybody. So we'll see how it ends.
My thing, though, if he loses, then there's going to be talks about how he could have never got the job done there.
Well, he has though. He did deliver one championship.
Yeah, but that's title town. They want several.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Oh, Brett Favre only got him one.
Yeah.
But it's hard to win championships in the NFL. A lot harder than the NBA where you got dynasties and shit like that. So a big ass game on Monday night in week 17. It'll be the Browns at the Steelers. I mean, must win football there. If these guys have any hope of going to the playoffs, that's probably a bigger game for the Steelers. And I think the Steelers should be able to get that win. Do you agree, Brett? At home against the Browns?
I mean, the way that the Browns are playing, yes, but the way that the Steelers are playing, no.
I know, and we're going to get into the Steelers a little bit more later. My faith in the Steelers is pretty low right now as well.
Yeah, ever since that tie with the Lions, it's been downhill.
Yeah. Dustin, you've been saying Packers are going to, your favorite to win the Super Bowl all year long. Right now, the playoffs go through Lambeau. You feeling pretty confident about, any team coming into Lambeau and beating them in the playoffs?
Absolutely, man. I mean, I keep saying it. Lambeau is a hard place to play in January.
Yeah.
And it always is going to be. But, I'm high on the Packers, but I still, deep thoughts, man, you can't sleep on Tom Brady. And,
Yeah. To their credit, I mean, it's in Lambeau. You got the weather, plus you got the home field officials. You never know what could happen in January.
Home field.
That's the only shot I'm going to take there. I'm going to let it go. Let's go Saturday night, Christmas night. A great game. Your Colts, Dustin, at the Cardinals. You said it going in. It's a must win. The Colts have to pretty much win out to make sure they make the playoffs. At the Cardinals, you knew it was going to be a tough test. What did you think of the Cardinals? How much of a threat were they? Or was it kind of an easy win? I mean, what is your thoughts on how the Colts did against the Cardinals?
I mean, it was a hard-fought win. I mean, it was, Colts couldn't score until, like, in the fourth quarter. It came down to a lot of field goals. I mean, the Cardinals were in it. They just can't finish, and that's a lot of their games.
And to do that, though, a pretty impressive win with, like, second and third string offensive line. Jonathan Taylor played pretty well behind that line, as did Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz with that great touchdown pass late to kind of seal it. Pretty impressive to play that well behind. The offensive line's supposed to be the heart and soul of that team.
Yeah, that was a beautiful play by Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
That is what Indianapolis needs to, expect out of him every time. And he shows he has the ability to do it. And he just made a play.
Bro, if Jonathan Taylor can go for 100 behind that line, imagine what he can do with a healthy line going into the playoffs.
And good news. I'm reading that we might have all our players back come Sunday.
Yeah, because they weren't necessarily hurt. It was like COVID, right?
Yeah, and now that they changed that rule, everybody might be able to come back.
Yeah, and that rule you're alluding to is now instead of 10 days isolation and missing 10 days, you only have to miss 5 now. So good news on the COVID front. Bret, what's your thoughts on the Cardinals? They were 10-2, the best record in the NFL, a 7-0 start. Now they've lost 3 games in a row at the worst time possible with the playoffs right around the corner. They lose to a COVID hit Colts, a COVID hit Rams. They lose to your Lions. Of all teams, the Lions blow them out 30-12. I'm sure you watched that game. What's your thoughts on the Cardinals? They don't look very good anymore. They look very beatable.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. It's almost as if their chemistry just fell apart.
Yeah.
It's not very. I mean, that's very rare to see a team to play at that level for as long as they did. Just go on a, just go on a streak like this. Like, it just looks like they haven't played football in a year. So I'm not sure what's going on there in Arizona. They got some things to figure out here heading into the playoffs, but they really blew a chance to take a lead in their division, and now it looks like they're going to be in the wild card spot.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, absolutely. And if you remember, Bret, me and you did a preseason Cardinals season preview episode, and I had a little, rant hating on Cliff Kingsbury and how he needs to get fired in order for the Cardinals to take the next step. At 7-0 and 10-2, a lot of people were like, haha, screw you, Alex. You don't know what you're talking about. Now that they're on a losing streak, do you think that Cliff Kingsbury could be part of the issue? The head coach and offensive play caller?
Maybe. I mean, I'm not really sure, to be honest. Like, I don't know what changed since they started going on their losing streak here. And
yeah.
It could be. It seemed like he was doing fine for the part of the season. I'm not sure what he would have changed up. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it's just almost as if teams are starting to figure out how to, just take care of Arizona's units, whether it's offensively, defensively, or special teams.
Yeah, to that point, former Colts defensive end Robert Mathis had a good tweet. He said that he's figured out Kyler Murray. He said you can tell how he's going to escape and where he's going to go. So if you just keep him contained in the pocket, he's very beatable. If you let him get outside of the pocket and run around and do his magic, that's when he can be very deadly. To that point, Dustin, what do you think? You watched the game on Saturday night. What do you think watching Kyler Murray play? Is it more Cliff Kingsbury, or does Kyler Murray need to take some blame as well?
I mean, yeah, you have to blame Kyler Murray as well. I mean, he had some pretty bad plays, I would say, and
open receivers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 50-50. I mean, obviously, the last few weeks the Cardinals haven't looked prepared to come into any game and play, and that's on the coaching staff. But also Kyler Murray, is he's supposed to be a top 10 quarterback, and he hasn't performed either.
Number 1 overall pick. With that comes a lot of high expectations. And a lot of people have the Cardinals as Super Bowl contenders going into this season. We can't lose sight of that. Very high expectations for the Cardinals. And to be on a 3-game losing streak, and now they're going week 17, they're going at the red-hot Dallas Cowboys. who are on a I believe a 4-game winning streak of their own. So, what chances do you give the Cardinals of turning it around in Dallas in Week 17, Bret? I mean, a tough game.
Yeah, I don't see much happening there. The way that the Cowboys are playing versus if the Cardinals are playing, if it continues like that, it's going to be ugly. I don't see, I don't think either way, regardless of even if Dallas does play under how they've been playing and Arizona plays above, I still don't think Arizona's going to win.
Yeah. What do you agree with that, Dustin? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they've been struggling, and I think that the struggle continues, and especially how impressive the Cowboys looked on Sunday night.
Yeah. That would put the Cardinals on a 4-game losing streak, and they would suddenly be 10-6. And I mean, I don't think I have to tell you guys, if you go into the playoffs on a 4 or 5-game losing streak, good luck. I don't care who you are.
Yeah,
So,
I just see them
go
coming
ahead.
out. I just don't see them coming out of the wild card. And you were right. After going 7-0, you predicted the collapse, and it happened.
Would you fire Cliff Kingsbury if they don't turn it around? If they're one and done in the playoffs, or go in on a 5-game losing streak?
Me personally, not this year, for the simple fact that you did make the playoffs. I mean, coming off losing seasons and you finally made the playoffs.
Oh, I fired him last week, bro. Send Cliff Kingsbury back to college where he belongs. Give me, you got the Cardinals with all those weapons. They would be a hot commodity for a lot of coaching staff. Give that Cardinals team like Eric Bieniemy or Byron Leftwich.
But they had a better season than they did last year. I mean, they are improving, but slowly.
Yeah, I don't know. Real quick, Dustin, the Week 17, the 8-7 Raiders at the 9-6 Colts. Carson Wentz is on COVID, but with this new, isolation 5 days, he can probably play, which means not only will the Colts be healthier, but the Raiders will be healthier as well. How do you see the Colts home game versus the 8-7 Raiders? Raiders coming off a big win. Do you think the Colts can take care of business, and then you won't have to, you're going to have to deal with Tito next week? Are you going to be talking about a win or a loss?
Well, I'm for sure going to be talking about a win, just because the Raiders barely beat Cleveland like 2 weeks ago when Cleveland was on their third-string quarterback. So
and they barely beat Denver this last week too.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not worried, but because I mean, Jonathan Taylor is going to rush for 800 yards, whoever he faces. So
yeah, Bret, real quick, watching the Colts, they're Dustin's team. They're not your team, but the little bit that you've seen of the Colts, they could be taking a 4-game winning streak into Week 18, into the playoffs. If they're coming in hot, how dangerous can this Colts team be in the playoffs?
Well, I don't think anybody wants to play the Colts right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who or how they've beaten who. They're doing what they have to do to win games, and if you can't figure out their scheme and how to stop them, then you're going to be the next team sent home.
Yep. I'm actually looking forward to this Colts team in the playoffs. I think they're way more dangerous this year than they were last year.
Agreed.
Let's go Giants-Eagles on Sunday. Dustin, you got what you asked for. You wanted the Jake Fromm first start of his career, but and you thought it could be better than Mike Glennon, which I can agree with you on that. Mike Glennon's not any good, but Jake Fromm didn't really, burn the house down. He struggled against the Eagles. They get blown out. What was the final in this game? I don't even have the score, but I know they got blown out by the Eagles. It was like 34-10. What did you think of Jake Fromm's first career start, Dustin?
Yeah, he struggled, but it was his first career start. You have to give him, more chances, but it shows more of how the Eagles came to play, and I think the Eagles are going to be a dangerous team.
Yeah, big win for the Eagles to get to 8-7. But let's go back to the Giants real quick. Bret, the Giants pretty much, they brought in a lot of weapons. They brought in Kyle Rudolph. They brought in Kenny Galladay. They tried to surround Daniel Jones with as much talent as they could to see if they can get more out of him. But they're sitting at 4-11. It looks like a failed experiment. Do you think the Giants need a new head coach and need to look at possibly getting a new quarterback?
I think it needs to be one or both. Yeah, I don't think Daniel Jones is the. I mean, he's had his chance there now, and they haven't shown much any improvement. If anything, they've gotten worse. So I'm not sure what it needs to be, but something needs to change.
Yeah, the Giants have lost 10 or more games for the 5th straight season. So it's been a while since Eli Manning, since we've seen much success out of the Giants. Dustin, what do you think? Do you agree with that on the Giants? What do you think they need to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's time to move on from quarterback. I mean, Daniel Jones has had his chances, and he's a turnover machine, and you can't have that.
Yeah. Any chance? Russell Wilson mentioned the Giants as a potential destination. Any chance the Giants could get Russell Wilson, and that would turn the franchise around in a hurry?
Absolutely. If you give that man those kind of weapons, watch out.
Yeah. Could you see Russell Wilson in a Giants uniform, Bret? That'd be pretty weird. It'd take a minute to get used to that.
Yeah, him being on Seattle for so long, and the Giants, yeah, that would be probably the best case scenario for New York. If they could get that with the weapons that they do have right now, they would probably become, instant contenders for the division, at least or instant favorites, at least with, level with Dallas.
Because besides the Cowboys, that division's pretty wide open.
Yeah.
Do you think Matt Ryan could bring the same type of turnaround, or Russell Wilson is much more?
I think Wilson has more left in him than Ryan, so I would say so.
Okay. Bret, 8-7 Eagles, so a big win to get above 500. They're still alive in the playoff hunt, 3-game winning streak. They go at Washington next week. Think the Eagles can go on the road, get another big win against the football team?
Probably. The way that Washington, if Washington's playing like that, then yeah.
They played so bad on Sunday night.
They did. That was embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Dustin? Eagles at Washington.
Yeah, I mean, like you guys said, they got downright embarrassed on Sunday. So I'm going to go with the Eagles, and I think the Eagles might beat them up pretty good too.
You don't think Heineke's that bad, though? Washington could bounce back, right?
I mean, Heineke's not bad, but Washington just doesn't look like they want to win right now.
Yeah, with the drama on the sideline and all that, it looks like they have some issues. So
they lost Chase Young and fell.
Yeah, that's true. All right, let's move on. Rams at Vikings. A must-win for the Vikings if they want to make the playoffs, but they get beat 30-23 by the Rams. Bret, what's your thoughts on Matthew Stafford this year in LA? They're sitting at 11-4, but Stafford's had his ups and downs. He threw 3 interceptions in this game. He had 3 straight games with a pick 6. Do you think Stafford needs to play better? The Rams are probably Super Bowl contenders when Stafford's playing at his best. Why do you think Stafford struggled at times with the Rams?
Honestly, I'm not sure. He didn't play this way really at all up until recently. They were playing. I mean, they were 7-4, I guess. So I don't know. I'm not sure what his decision making is
at times. Yeah,
it definitely has some issues, like that one pick 6 when they were on the goal line. That was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
that was really odd. And when he got kind of spun down, and
And just
threw
kind
it.
of threw it up. Yeah.
I'm not, if he's playing like that, then it's going to be tough for LA to advance. But if he's playing to the potential that, like you said, that he can be, they should be Super Bowl contenders.
Do you find yourself rooting for Stafford and the Rams going into the playoffs? Is that one of your teams that you're going to be like, you'd kind of like to see them win?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been watching them all season, or at least keeping an eye on them.
Yeah.
Just to see, and it'd be nice, like if he can win a playoff game and take them at least, a game or two in, if not to the Super Bowl, then it'll keep a lot of people quiet who haven't been for the last several years.
And on top of that, they're getting running back Cam Akers back, which is perfect timing. I mean, Cam Akers really turned it on late last year, week 17 and the playoffs. So if they can get production out of Cam Akers along with Sony Michel, real quick, also, Bret, so we saw Matthew Stafford break records with Calvin Johnson, and Calvin Johnson put up numbers that break Jerry Rice's record. Now, for the second time, Stafford is, getting the most out of Cooper Kupp. And Cooper Kupp is 17 catches and 230 yards away from breaking NFL records in receiving yards and catches, breaking Calvin Johnson's record in yards. What does that say? I mean, how impressive is it that Cooper Kupp is about to break these records and with Stafford throwing him the ball?
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty nuts to think that, the comparison being there. I don't think that Cooper Kupp is anywhere near the receiver that Johnson was, but
yeah,
at least this year it's showing that he is having a similar season, and it's, he's been good. I think it shows, Stafford throws the ball a lot more than he does to, I think it's, I don't know what the difference is, but I know that Kupp is targeted way more often than a lot of the other guys combined. So they're really close. The chemistry there, I think, helps, and he had that with Johnson. So it is nuts to see the performance that he's putting up, and it might, it could be because of Stafford. Obviously, he couldn't get that with Goff, so he's been that type of player, that caliber this entire time. He just needed somebody else to push him over the edge, and he's got Stafford, who's done it before.
Yeah. What do you think, Dustin? I mean, you look at this Rams team, they're pretty loaded. You talk about Matthew Stafford, Sony Michel. Now you add Cam Akers to go with Cooper Kupp, who's breaking records, an MVP candidate this year, Odell Beckham Jr., Van Jefferson, Tyler Higbee. And that's just on the offensive side. Defensively, you got Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd. What do you think, Dustin, when you look at this Rams team sitting at 11-4, do you think they can go into anywhere and go deep on a playoff run? Are they contenders just as much as Green Bay or Tampa Bay or anybody else? Dustin?
They have the talent to do it. It just it depends on, in my opinion, the play of Matthew Stafford. Is he gonna show up and play well, or is he gonna choke when it comes to the playoffs?
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how deep this team can go. I mean, Sean McVay took Jared Goff to the Super Bowl. So Stafford's got to be an upgrade from Goff. The chemistry. What was that?
I said, obviously.
Yeah, the chemistry seems to be there between him and Kupp. So we'll see. The Rams are going to be definitely a team to keep an eye on. And go ahead, Dustin.
Sorry about that. What did you say that this is a must-win, a must-win championship for Stafford? I mean, you're playing with some of the best talent in the league. If you can't win with that, then.
Well, I think that it might take they're contenders this year, but it might take a little bit of baby steps. It's very rare that you see a quarterback or a team that, I guess the Rams have gone there before with Jared Goff, but for me, when I look at Stafford, he's never won a playoff game. And so he's got the team around him to do it. So this is a big year for Stafford to get at least one playoff win. And if he can get the monkey off his back with one win, then that might lead to a second or a third. This team is talented enough to go to the NFC Championship game, but they got to prove it, and they might have to face the Cardinals. They might have to face the Bucks or the Packers. So those are going to be big time prove it games, and they're going to have a lot to prove. And so Sean McVay has a lot to prove. Matthew Stafford has a lot to prove, and I'm interested in seeing. I mean, Stafford's going to be a Ram for a couple of years, right? This isn't one and done, as far as I'm concerned. So it might take a couple of years. We'll see. Do you agree with that, Bret? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, why he's not going to be, like you said, he's not going to be there one and done. And it's a lot of quarterbacks have all the pieces to win it all, but not everybody wins. So it might take a year or two.
It's a very competitive NFC too, especially at the top.
Yeah, but he has an opportunity this year to do that, and this might be, they may not be at this level or where they're at the next couple of years. So if he's got the opportunity now's the time to take it.
Absolutely. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, seeing how the Rams do. They're playing good football right now, and that's going to be a lot of fun to keep an eye on. They go at the Ravens next week. The Ravens should get Lamar Jackson and get a little healthier. That's a must-win for the Ravens, so we'll see if they can win that or not. Rams at Ravens. That's going to be some must-watch football. Let's go Bills at Patriots. Dustin, you picked the Bills to win in Foxborough. I thought you were a little crazy. I didn't think the Bills were going to be able to get it done. But Josh Allen balled out. The Patriots couldn't get the Bills off the field on some big-time third downs. Josh Allen just kept extending plays, third down, fourth down. He kept making plays. Kudos to the Bills and Josh Allen. They got it done. How impressed were you, Dustin, with Josh Allen's performance in Foxborough?
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen showed up and played how he should have played. I mean, he had his back against the wall, and this was a must-win game.
Yeah, it was.
He played very well.
Very impressed. I mean, you lose, you fall to 8-7, and you might miss the playoffs, especially with the Dolphins playing as well as they have been. So that win puts the Bills in the first place in the AFC East. So that changes a lot. Bret, what did you think? I mean, despite the loss, so this is what I'm hoping for. I thought the Patriots were going to sweep them and knock the Bills out, but a big win for the Bills to get back into the playoff hunt. Right now, we're staring at a Bills-Patriots rematch in the playoffs, so a third matchup. When you look at that, Bret, who do you think is the better team? Who would you pick in the playoffs, Bills-Patriots, in a third matchup?
Well, it just depends on where it's at. I think if it's at Foxborough next time, that New England is going to have the edge. Buffalo went in and they played better. They were the better team. But I don't think that New England was as prepared, and Belichick knows that, and they're not going to let that happen again.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen really balled out, so we'll see what happens. It will be insane to see them play again. I'm sure everybody kind of wants that.
Yeah, we deserve it. It's been such good football. We deserve a third matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And Dustin, so the odd thing is that both teams won on the road. So would you give an advantage to the home team in January? Or do you think the road team just wins every matchup? And who do you think would win a third matchup, Bills or Patriots? And do you think, because I think Bill Belichick is going to notice the flaws of this last game, adjust, and might bring something different for Josh Allen.
Yeah, well, first of all, I think whoever has the home field advantage, I mean, obviously it's an advantage for a reason, but I'm going Bills because I think Josh Allen is going to step up when it matters most. He's the better quarterback, and I think the Bills are the overall better team. I mean, if it wasn't for the weather, and I mean, obviously you can't blame the weather, but if it wasn't for the conditions, I think the Bills win the very first game at Orchard Park.
Okay. That's what's interesting to me because I don't know if I like Josh Allen too. And he's got the skill set to do whatever he wants on the field. He's a big body, athletic, strong ass arm. He can do literally whatever he wants on the field. But can he do it consistently in the biggest pressure moments? And I didn't really see him do that in the AFC Championship game last year. And I'm not sold on the Bills. So if it's a rematch in January, I'm going with the old ball coach. I'm going with the 6-time Super Bowl winner, Bill Belichick. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. All I know is I want a rematch, and it's going to be great football if we get it. What do you think, Bret? I mean, where would you lean, Josh Allen or Bill Belichick in January? I mean, Josh Allen, if he can beat Bill Belichick, maybe Josh Allen can put this entire Bills organization on his back and go win a Super Bowl. How impressive would that be?
Yeah, but like I said, Belichick's gonna figure this out and they know what they need to do to counter what happened. And you can take into account that the first game, the weather probably did play a factor, and the Bills might have won, but they also know that, so I'm sure they're gonna be well prepared. I think whoever plays at home is gonna have the advantage and win.
I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, Dustin. To that point, it might be bad weather again in January. Both teams play outside. The weather could be bad again. Don't discredit Bill Belichick, man. He is the ultimate adjuster, and that defense, I think it hurt his pride seeing what Josh Allen did this Sunday to beat him. My money would be on Bill Belichick in a rematch. You disagree, though? You're taking Josh Allen?
Yeah, I'm taking Josh Allen for the simple fact that, Bill Belichick is great, but he also can't make Mac Jones perform, and I think the pressure of a young rookie quarterback is going to be too much to overcome.
So do you see, I mean, if they can beat the Patriots in January, who can't they beat? So do you see Josh Allen and the Bills as championship contenders this year?
That's a tricky question. I mean,
you knew that question was going to come. It's all arrows are pointing in that direction.
Not this year. I mean, I think that they go to the divisional round and eventually lose to, my Indianapolis Colts, because I got us going the AFC Championship game. But
you got your Colts going that far, huh?
Yeah. Besides that, I mean, if they can get hot, they have the talent to win it all.
Yeah.
It just depends if Josh Allen can handle the pressure or not.
Yeah, both teams should win in week 17. Bills hosting the Falcons, very winnable. Patriots hosting the Jags, very winnable. Let's go to Bucks at Panthers, where the Bucks blow out Carolina. The Bucks needed this after getting shut out and losing 9-0. They bounced back and put up 32 on the Panthers, win 32-6. The Bucks clinched their first NFC South division title since 2007. So a big, accomplishment there for Tampa Bay. Bret, the Cam Newton experiment in Carolina, they brought him back, maybe not talent-wise, but maybe for the fans and to make people happy, put butts in the seats. We got to see both Sam Darnold and Cam Newton in this game. Obviously, the Panthers' offense isn't working, and that's pointing at Matt Rule. He fired offensive coordinator Joe Brady earlier in the season. The offense hasn't gotten any better. Bret, do you think the Panthers should move on from head coach Matt Rule, get a different head coach, and also be looking at a different quarterback, a new quarterback in Carolina for next year?
I mean, I definitely think they need to move on quarterback wise. Yeah, they probably just brought Newton back. If it would have worked out, it would have been fine. But he played really well that first game, and since then they just have looked they've looked worse.
Yeah.
So
Not just Cam Newton, but Sam Darnold was a failed experiment as well.
yeah, and that could be partly due to the coaching staff. But then again, I just don't think that those guys are, Darnold also failed in New York. So it's, I don't know. I think it just kind of needs to be completely wiped out there throughout a lot of parts or aspects of the Carolina organization.
You know what can fix a lot in Carolina? So real quick, here's a quote from Matt Rule, who's on the hot seat. Anytime you fire your offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, who's a big name, and the offense doesn't get any better, all eyes are going to be on the head coach. The offense, and Matt Rule says on the offense, he goes, I believe it's 1,000% working. I just know no one can see it. I think that's, a coach that knows he's on the way out. And that's not a very good quote. I think he's fired as soon as the season's over. You got an owner in David Tepper who's very aggressive. He wants to win. He wants to get a quarterback. Bret, you know who can fix this Panthers offense in a hurry? They've got weapons. You got Christian McCaffrey, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore. Who should the Panthers bring in that could turn this offense around in one offseason? Panthers need to go all in on Deshaun Watson. Do you agree on that?
I mean, that could be a proper fit.
Yeah,
that definitely, it would help both Carolina and Watson with their situations. I don't know what they would have to do to get him, but
a big trade, give up like 3 first-round picks, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, if they're willing to, or if they're able to figure that out efficiently to be able to still compete, then yeah, why not?
Yeah. What do you think, Dustin? Is that something you would look if you're a Panther?
Absolutely. I mean, I like Deshaun Watson, and I still think maybe Matt Ryan would be able to come in and turn that place around a little bit.
Matt Ryan, sure, but he's like a 1 or 2 year rental, and then he's going to retire, in my opinion. So I think Matt Ryan needs to go to a contender. The Panthers are a slight rebuild, they need, if they could get someone young like Deshaun Watson, I just think that'd be the perfect fit. I think if they brought in Matt Ryan, they might not even make the playoffs next year. I don't know.
Is it Houston not letting Watson play, or is it the NFL with the lawsuits and stuff that's going on?
No, because that stuff's still getting figured out. Watson could play tomorrow if they wanted to. It's a stalemate in Houston where Deshaun Watson says, I'm not playing for you guys even if you wanted me to. He won't play for the Texans again. And the Texans are saying, we're not going to play you because it's bad optics because of the lawsuit stuff. And the Texans want to trade Deshaun Watson, but they're trying to get every ounce of trade value and all that back. And a lot of teams are looking at it and saying the Texans want too much right now. Talking about like 3 first-round picks and 2 seconds and shit.
Would the Panthers be willing to give up all that, though?
I think David Tepper, their owner, is aggressive enough and wants a quarterback bad enough that he will offer the Texans the most to go get him. And it seems to me the most logical fit. If you look at Miami or Philly, who's got Tua, who's got Jalen Hurts, the Panthers are desperate more than anybody else to get a quarterback. It just seems to me to be a perfect fit. An aggressive owner and the desperate need. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
Now, real quick, Bret, I want your take on this. So Antonio Brown gets suspended for the fake vaccination card, and he's out 3 weeks. And some NFL guys or some media asked the Bucs head coach, Bruce Arians, they said, when you brought in Antonio Brown, you said it was a 1-strike policy. You said if Antonio Brown does anything, you're cutting his ass. And Bruce Arians said, well, that was last year. Antonio Brown has done a lot in the year and a half or almost 2 years that he's been here to gain our trust. So we're staying loyal to Antonio Brown. Plus, we know how meaningful he is to this team. We need him if we're going to repeat as champions. What do you think of that? And do you like the Bucks staying loyal to Antonio Brown through the suspension, bringing his ass back, and not cutting ties with him? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean that he gives them an opportunity and a chance to win. So why
Yeah.
don't I'm not sure why they would get rid of him. It's unfortunate that he had to be suspended and go through what he's going through for what he did, but they are willing to work that through and come back and look at the bigger picture.
Yeah, I like that from head coach Bruce Arians, being loyal and sticking with his player. You know what I mean? Through adversity.
Yeah.
What do you think on that? Go ahead, Bret.
I said, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, what do you think on that, Dustin? Do you like that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it. He made a mistake, and people make mistakes, and I applaud Bruce Arians for that.
Yeah, he did his time, and Bruce Arians stuck with them and bringing him back. Plus, they know they need him. And Antonio Brown comes back, his first game back from suspension, gets 10 catches for 101 yards. So he's still very valuable.
That man is still a beast.
Yeah, he is. Business is booming. All right, let's go to a pretty bad game here. Jags at Jets, two bad teams with bad records. The Jets beat the Jags 26-21. Bret, we didn't have you on during the Urban Meyer drama. And we went back to the preseason. I was very critical of the hire. I didn't think Urban Meyer was a good fit. I didn't think it was going to work out. And he doesn't even last the full season before he gets fired. He doesn't travel with the team. He gets videotaped, getting a lap dance from a hot blonde chick, which kind of credit to him. But at the same time, you should be traveling with your team, all that. What's your thoughts on the Urban Meyer experiment in Jacksonville this year?
Yeah, it didn't go very well, obviously.
Yeah.
I didn't think that it would. He's not one of those guys that, not very many guys can coach on both levels like that.
Yeah.
I think it was just kind of hoping that with those younger guys that they had drafted, he would be able to, commute or have a better connection with them, as they were athletically from college, and that just didn't translate very well.
Yeah, the biggest thing you see is these guys that are lifelong college coaches, is that they try to talk down to these professional men, athletes, and it doesn't work the same. You can kind of talk down and treat the college players like teenagers and student athletes. You can't do that in the pros when they're making more money than you. You know what I mean? Right. And that's why I never thought it'd work. Do you think that – so your former Lions coach, Jim Caldwell, is a candidate for the Jags. Do you think he'd be a good fit in Jacksonville?
Yeah. I think, he brings a culture there that he can turn around. He was doing that in Detroit before they let go of him after, that 9-7 season.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a good fit. He would be there, they give him a couple years. They got that young offense, that defense that's kind of turning around there. And we'll see who they're going to bring in. But I think that would be the best option for Jacksonville.
Yeah, I like it. Dustin, real quick, who's in a better spot going forward, the Jags or the Jets?
The Jags.
Why do you say that?
Why do I say that? Well, because I actually don't trust Zach Wilson. I liked the Jags quarterback pick better than I did the Jets.
Yeah.
And I feel like, Zach Wilson looks like he needs more development. Trevor Lawrence is there. He just doesn't have the coaching behind him.
Yeah. So if you get the right coach, maybe the Jags could turn it around quickly. Are you seeing much like the Jets are a whole new coaching staff, a whole new era of football there, but we're not seeing a tremendously we're not seeing the results yet. It looks like the same old Jets so far. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, again, I think it's about Zach Wilson. You have to develop him.
Yeah. Do you agree with that, Brett? Do you think the same thing, or do you like what the Jets are doing?
I feel like they're kind of going in the same direction that they did with Darnold. They're not showing any improvement.
Yeah.
It's not looking like it's going to be, they're going to obviously they're going to need to take another year or two, but it doesn't look like they've taken that next step that they were hoping for.
Yep. So it'll be interesting. I mean, you got Robert Saleh, who's a rookie head coach. You got Mike LaFleur, who's a rookie play caller. So it'll be interesting to see how the Jets progress. I think they're a long rebuild, not a short rebuild. So we're going to have to really judge this Jets team on how they look 2 or 3 more years down the road, I think.
Yeah.
And the Jags are the key for the Jags is this next head coaching hire. This has got to be a home run pick to get the most out of Trevor Lawrence. So we'll see what happens there because Urban Meyer was a complete waste of a hire.
The Jags talent too. I mean, it's not like they lack talent. They have the talent. They just need the guy who's going to go in there and say, "Hey, you guys are treat them like men, basically."
Yep. Brett, let's go to your Lions who played the Falcons this week. The Lions 2-2 in their last 4 weeks. The Falcons hang on to win 20-16. Did you watch this game and were you upset that Tim Boyle couldn't lead the game-winning drive?
I mean, I wasn't upset because I was in anticipation that it was going to end in something like that.
Yeah.
There wasn't too much, that's been like 6 games for the Lions this year, and that's been like 10 games every year for the last 10 years. So I'm used to it by now. I did just have a heart exam when I just went to the doctor, so they said that the Lions probably aren't the best option or choice for me. It's going to come down to things like that. So I'm not surprised. It could have gone either way. Obviously, I'm not sure who the hell he thought he was throwing to there, but
yeah,
they've been exciting to say the least.
Yeah, they've been. I mean, some great games this year that have a lot of them come down to the wire. A bright spot of this Lions roster is rookie wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, who all indications looks a lot better than Equinemius in Green Bay. He has at least 11 targets and 8 catches in 4 straight games now, and 3 career touchdowns in the last 4 games. He seems to be a nice bright spot, a good pick, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, he's playing well. He's athletic. He knows he picks his spots and he's able to get open in the field there and create space for himself and the quarterback. So he's definitely going to be a bright future player.
Yeah. Now, we all knew this was going to be a long rebuild in Detroit when they moved on from Stafford and all this. We knew it was going to be a long rebuild, and that so this year the wins and losses isn't nearly as important as Dan Campbell establishing a culture in that locker room. What's your Dan Campbell meter at on a scale of 1 to 10? How happy and confident are you in what Dan Campbell is building in Detroit?
I would say a 10.
Really?
I think he's doing really. I mean, the city's really happy with him. Fans are really happy with him. The culture is growing there. Like, they're obviously they only have 2 wins this year, but it wasn't very expected.
Mm-hmm.
There was talks that they were going to go 0-17. So, the fact that they're competing and that they're playing as well as they are with the pieces that he had when he has just come in there and Stafford left. That wasn't a very easy task, and it seems like the players there are happy. The culture there is growing, so the excitement is building, and it looks like they're going to be competitive here in the next couple of years.
I like it. That's a pretty good take. Yeah, 100%. I mean, like I had my reservations on Dan Campbell, with the talking about biting your kneecaps off and all that. But I agree that I'm seeing like it doesn't matter what I think, being a Bears fan, being a hater in the division. It matters what the guys in the locker room think. And they seem to be buying in. And that's the most important thing. Screw what the media, screw what anybody else thinks. If he can get the locker room bought in, we all know it's going to be a slow, long rebuild. But if he can build a culture in that locker room, then fuck the outside noise. You're gonna win from within. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, what do you think? Do you think Detroit just keeps depending on Jared Goff next year? Or do you go in the draft, or what do you think the future is for that?
Who are you asking?
Either one of you guys.
I mean, Bret, I'm sure the Lions need to be looking at drafting their next quarterback, right? This draft.
Yeah, I mean, at least looking, in this draft,
Yeah.
if not the next draft for sure.
Yeah. So that's going to be key. I mean, I doubt that you have your eyes on anybody yet, but like, it's going to be key seeing who the next franchise quarterback is going to be, the next high draft pick for the Lions, because they haven't had to take a pick since taking Matthew Stafford #1 overall.
Yeah, I think they probably run with Goff next year. They have him for like 2 years, I think. So,
Yep.
so they'll probably, they can still keep building around in that organization and other aspects of the team, and then look for their future at that point.
Now, Dustin, I got a question for you. We were really high on rookie tight end Kyle Pitts going into the draft, and when the Falcons took him, that seemed to be the consensus no-brainer pick. A lot of us, Kyle Pitts to Atlanta, it made a lot of sense. Rich came on last week and said how he was kind of leading Justin Fields a little bit, but Kyle Pitts is a monster, so you can't really complain. Kyle Pitts is having a great year in this game. 6 catches for 102 yards. That's his third 100-yard game of his career, of the season. And he passes tight end Jeremy Shockey for the second most receiving yards for a rookie tight end. And he's within reach of potentially getting the most receiving yards for a rookie tight end in NFL history if he can pass Mike Ditka, who has over 1,000. Let's look at these. 1,076 yards receiving for a rookie tight end. What do you think of Kyle Pitts? I mean, it seems to be a home run pick for Atlanta.
Absolutely. I mean, I like the guy. He's a great player, and Atlanta got them a good future star. And I mean, to the Justin Fields thing, I still would choose Kyle Pitts over Justin Fields.
Yeah.
It's because of the fact that I just thought, him and Matt Ryan and the Falcons would be better this year. But
well, when you bring back Matt Ryan for one more year, if Matt Ryan wasn't back and you had a need at quarterback, then absolutely Justin Fields. But because Matt Ryan's back, then bringing in Kyle Pitts made some sense in bringing in another weapon for Matt Ryan.
So how much of a guarantee is it that the Falcons trade Matt Ryan?
I think it's a pretty done deal. I think the Falcons recognize they need to move on. Matt Ryan wants to move on. I mean, you look at it, the Falcons, when's the last time the Falcons have even made the playoffs with Matt Ryan?
Well, it was back when they
the Super Bowl run, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think they need to see the writing on the wall and move on. Be like, look, even Matt Ryan at 100% can't get us to the playoffs. So let's move Matt Ryan, make him happy, move him to a contender, and let's start a minor rebuild around hopefully Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts and some of the young core.
Absolutely. Felipe Frank's time.
Let's go Chargers Texans. This was the upset of the weekend. The Chargers were a home win against the Chiefs 2 weeks ago, from having first place in the division and being well on their way to the playoffs. But a loss there, and then a unbelievable loss to the Texans on Sunday, for giving up 41 points to the Davis Mills Texans. Bret, what the hell is wrong with the Chargers? This was a surefire playoff team that now might miss the playoffs entirely because they can't beat the Texans. What's wrong with the Chargers?
They got blasted. I don't know what happened, but
yeah,
they don't look very. I mean, they don't. There's not a chance there now. The chemistry, everything is gone. Especially after that Kansas City game, like you said, they had the opportunity to, control their own destiny, and now they're deep water, and it's not looking like, after that loss. I'm not sure what's going to happen there, but in just a few weeks here, they looked like they were going to be trouble in the playoffs now to having trouble in the playoffs if they even get there.
Absolutely. And it's not just a bad loss, it's what it does mentally. It's your swagger's gone. Your confidence is gone. And we were hyping, they were all over Justin Fields saying that was the throw of the year 3 weeks ago. And how he, is in the same conversation as Mahomes, as up-and-coming talented quarterbacks. Justin Herbert throws 2 picks, including a real late pick 6, and they lose the game. I mean, what's your thoughts on the Chargers and the confidence meter and Justin Herbert? All of a sudden, 2 losses, and now the sky is falling in LA.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to think because, I mean, if you lose to a Texans team that has nothing to play for and has looked terrible all season long,
yeah,
you really should probably maybe hit the panic button.
And you know what? Selfishly, being an anti-analytics guy, after the shit Brandon Staley pulled against the Chiefs, that was a very winnable game, and all the decisions to go for it on fourth instead of kicking field goals, chip shot field goals, to lose this game to the Texans kind of makes me a little happy. And hey, I hope you guys learned your lesson. Being super aggressive came back to bite you in the ass, and now you might miss the playoffs entirely.
Yeah, but by the way, I still like Justin Herbert. He's very talented, so I'm not going to worry about.
What happened with Justin Herbert on that late pick 6? The game was still in reach when he threw that pick 6.
He just had a bad game. I mean, one of those days, but that's just my opinion.
All right, you're still high on Justin Herbert, though?
Oh, yeah.
So this is 2 years in a row. The Chargers, what do you think? Are they going to miss the playoffs? They got a winnable game against Denver coming up to get to 9-7. So if they take care of business there, get to 9-7, I'm going to look real quick at who they play week 18. But can the Chargers get to the playoffs or no?
I don't think so. I think the AFC race is kind of tight, but I still don't think that they'll be able to get in.
Yeah, what do you think, Bret?
If they don't I don't see them turning anything around. They're going to probably have to win both of these next games.
So their next 2 games are versus Broncos and at Raiders to finish out the season.
See, those are both winnable games, but they're both losable games.
Exactly. It's going to be interesting. And I know Tito is going to be hyped for both the Raiders' next 2 games. So, like you said, Dustin, and Bret, it's a very competitive AFC and AFC West.
Yeah.
Such a blown opportunity in that Chiefs game, Dustin. Such a blown opportunity. They could have controlled their destiny, and now they're scrapping just to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I still can't believe that Staley did that kind of stuff, man. I mean, you're fighting for your playoff lives, and you had a chance to make a statement, and you just blew it by going for it twice on the 5-yard line.
There's 2 teams and 2 head coaches on my shit list for the rest of the season. Brandon Staley and the LA Chargers, missed opportunities for dumb decisions, and John Harbaugh and the Baltimore Ravens for missed opportunities and dumb decisions. And we're going to get to the Ravens here now. As I know, the Ravens were without Lamar Jackson. They were without Tyler Huntley, so they had to go with third-string quarterback Josh Johnson. But they get their doors blown off by the Bengals in Baltimore, 41-21. Joe Burrow comes in and puts an ass whooping on the Ravens. Joe Burrow throws for like 500 some yards, 525 yards, and 4 touchdowns, and beats the brakes off the Ravens. Bret, what did you think of the Bengals? I mean, suddenly the Bengals team that, we've kind of joked about for, a long time, as, they'll be good, but not really contenders. Suddenly the Bengals are playing some pretty damn good football behind a young Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. What do you think of this Bengals team, Bret?
Yeah, they're playing really well. They have, that division is very wide open, or has seemed to be for the season, and especially with Jackson hurt, they had to take advantage, and they did. They went into Baltimore and they did put the ass whooping on them, and they're playing to the potential that they have, and they're going to be very hard to beat.
They might win this division, the AFC North, and have a home playoff game in Cincy for the first time in a long time. How does that sound, Dustin?
Yeah, and I mean, since he finally has their franchise quarterback, I mean, for 500 to pass for 525 yards is damn impressive.
Yeah. And so if you remember back a couple weeks ago, I made a comment like, this isn't even the Andy Dalton, AJ Green Bengals. This looks like the Carson Palmer, Chad Johnson Bengals. And to that point, the Bengals have swept both the Ravens and the Steelers in a season for the first time since 2009. The Carson Palmer, Chad Ochocinco era. How impressive.
Yeah, I mean, and Jamar Chase is going to be something else, man. That guy is going to be a star.
Jamar Chase, and let's not forget T. Higgins, who was a high draft pick 2 years ago. T. Higgins in this game, 12 catches for 194 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a hell of a 1-2 punch with not only Jamar Chase, but T. Higgins as well. And you can add Tyler Boyd to that.
Yeah, and I just hope that Indy has to avoid them in the wild card.
Bret, are you loving this Bengals team?
I mean, I'm definitely keeping an eye on them.
Yeah.
They have a chance to make some noise here, and it'll be interesting to see. I mean, these playoffs are going to be hyped.
And so we don't even have to wait for the playoffs, Bret. Next week, week 17, the biggest game of the week, honestly, the most hype, the game everyone needs to be watching. The 11-4 Chiefs at the 9-6 Bengals. The red hot 8 straight win Chiefs coming into Cincy to take on the 9-6 Bengals. This is must-watch football right here. Dustin, if the Bengals can win this, they might be fucking contenders, bro.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the Chiefs are the best team in the AFC. So if you can beat the best team in the AFC, you have to be contenders. And I mean, you never know. Joe Burrow could outplay Pat Mahomes.
If Joe Burrow beats the Chiefs on Sunday, my mind is going to be blown on this podcast. You're going to hear me hyping the Bengals more than I've ever hyped the Bengals in my life. But if you can stop the Chiefs, a red hot, Chiefs are the hottest team in football. The Chiefs right now look like they're going to march through the AFC and go back to the Super Bowl. If the Bengals can win on Sunday at home, Bret, that will be the biggest win in a long time for the Bengals.
Yeah, it's going to be, that'll definitely be big. They can catch they'll be able to be one game behind and maybe even, win the following week. And if the Chiefs lose, they can tie them and have the breaker. It could be a big step for them, even regardless of whether or not they can catch them still. But that'll be a big confidence booster for this team to going into the playoffs.
That's what I was going to say. It's the confidence they would gain from that win, the swag they would have. Joe Burrow would feel like if you can beat Mahomes and the Chiefs, you can beat anybody. And
when he was smoking the cigar after the natty title.
Bro, and that's the thing. When I saw that, I'm like, dude, this dude's got some swag. This dude's got some confidence. I kind of like Joe Burrow. I don't, me, I don't like to give a lot of praise to these rookie quarterbacks. I'm a guy that's very like, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, all these guys. You got to prove it to me. I'm kind of starting to come around on Joe Burrow a little bit. Dustin, I mean, you haven't heard me talk about a young quarterback like this really at all. I'm starting to come around on Joe Burrow.
I mean, and I don't blame you. I mean, the guy is really week in and week out proving a point, but this Sunday proves just how good Joe Burrow is. If they can pull off a win against Kansas City, it's going to be huge.
I'm picking the Bengals to win because I love to see the Chiefs lose. So if the Bengals can do this for me and get this win and do it for themselves and get the confidence they will gain from it, I'll be all in on the Bengals. The Bengals might be my AFC pick to go to the Super Bowl. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me say this just real quick. You guys do realize how close it is from the 1 seed to the 7th seed. I mean,
yeah,
the Chiefs aren't guaranteed to have home field advantage and lock up that number 1 seed yet.
The NFL is so fucking hyped this year, bro. It's such a fun year. We couldn't ask for any better, man.
Nope.
So yeah, Bengals Chiefs must watch. I can't wait for this game. Go Bengals. Now let's, that was all positivity. Now I'm gonna give you guys my negativity. Bret, you weren't on the show. Did you see John Harbaugh go for 2 at the end of the Steelers game? Go for 2 at the end of what was the other game they did, Dustin?
Oh man. Packers.
Was it Packers? They went for 2?
Yeah, yep. It was Packers. It was a 31-30 football game.
Yeah, with Tyler Huntley. Yeah. Bret, did you see that where they went for 2 instead of tying the game to send it to overtime twice now, and it backfired both times?
Yep.
What did you think? What did you think, man? That's just giving away wins, man. I hated those decisions by John Harbaugh.
I think he thought it was either going to be that or they were going to lose in overtime.
Yeah.
And, that sucks to have that kind of confidence because you should be able to go into overtime confidently thinking you're going to win. But, putting it all on the line like that is tough. And to have it backfire twice, it's rough.
And now the Ravens find themselves on what? I believe it's a 4-game losing streak. At least 3.
Yeah. Something like that. They're
Let
not.
me see here. Yeah. 4-game losing streak. They were 8-2. Or no, they were 8-3 with the best record in the AFC. And now they're 8-7.
Well, they got some work to do.
Yeah. And for that reason, bro, for those decisions being too aggressive, for hurting your team, John Harbaugh used to be one of my favorite coaches. And now he's in my dog house. I'm pissed at him. You're the head coach. Your job is to put your team in the best position to win. And decisions like that cost your team 2 wins. And I said it on the podcast last week. I said, I hope those decisions come back to bite the Ravens in the ass. It certainly appears like it has. They're going to host the Rams in week 17 here, and I think they lose again. I think the Ravens fall to 8-8. And Dustin, I think the Ravens miss the playoffs, bro.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it is going to come back to bite John Harbaugh in the ass.
What do you think on that? John Harbaugh, man, he needs to take he can't look at his players and say, I did what the players wanted me to do. He needs to own that.
Yeah. You can never listen to your players when the game is on the line, and that's just my opinion. You have to use, what you believe as being a head coach.
You can listen to him, but at the end of the day, the buck falls on you. The blame falls on you. And so if you're going to take that approach, you got to own those losses. And if you're going to miss the playoffs after 8-3, man.
How does that look on Lamar too?
Well, Lamar's kind of missed some of these games, though. Lamar feels like if I didn't get COVID, if I was healthy, I would will my team to a couple of these wins. And so, I can excuse Lamar for some of this. I believe if Lamar plays all these games, they still find a way to make the playoffs. But I don't think they make the playoffs now, and John Harbaugh's got to own a couple of these losses, man.
Yeah, they probably would have squeaked at least 2 wins. They'd be 10 wins right now if he would have been playing.
Yeah. And so, I don't know, but I kind of like it. I kind of like that the Ravens are getting owned by these decisions. And you know how it goes. Wins and losses, the playoffs come down to, you said it yourself, how competitive is the AFC and the AFC North all year has been so super competitive. And one win here, one loss there can determine a lot. And so for you to be making reckless decisions that cost your team wins, you don't deserve to make the playoffs. So that's my beef on it. Take that, Ravens. So let's go Bears Seahawks, a rare Seattle snow game, bro. I woke up on Sunday and said, what the hell's going on out here in Seattle? There's snow. I was like, I'm loving this shit. There's still snow on the ground right now. I feel like I'm in Michigan again.
Yeah, boy.
What's that?
I said, yeah, boy. It's not snow. Is it snowing up there, Dustin?
Absolutely. We just got hammered.
Oh, man, it's been raining here, but it's like 60 degrees.
Damn. In Indiana, right?
Yeah, down in Muncie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's been snowing for like 3 days straight out here. Nobody knows how to drive in this shit. No one knows how to drive normally, but the snow, it's even worse. But it was fun as hell. I don't know if you guys saw it. I mean, who's watching Bears Seahawks if you're not a fan with these two records, these two teams? But the snow in Seattle, the optics, the visuals of that game was really dope. Seeing these two playing in the snow. No Justin Fields or Andy Dalton, so Nick Foles got the start. Saint Nick, Christmas type of year. I didn't expect much. I expected the Seahawks to find a way to win, but Seattle's a bad team this year as well. The Bears sneak out a win, going for 2 at the end. That's a big thing too. Let me say this, is that if you're the Bears and you're 4-10 and you're, not playing for anything and the playoffs are long gone and you want to go for 2 in the win, I don't give a damn. Go for it. Like, I'm not going to criticize that. But if you're the Ravens and you're fighting for a playoff spot, that's when I'm going to criticize it. Do you agree with that, Dustin?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, like the Bears don't have anything to play for. Fuck it. Like, kick it onside when they're not expecting it. Go for 2. Go for it on 4th down. When you're eliminated, I don't give a shit what you do. But when you're fighting for playoffs, every decision matters.
Good win for the Bears, though.
Go ahead.
I said, that's what Dan Campbell's doing. They've been kicking onside kicks and going for it and all that crap.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter when you're losing, but because you're trying to pull a win out that no one expects you to. But if you're a really good team and you're fighting for the playoffs, then you're like, ooh, let's not be too crazy here, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, if Carson can't start, can the Bears hurry up and release Nick Foles?
Man, if the Colts sign Nick Foles and start him over Carson Wentz, Carson's mental will never recover from that. After Philly.
I mean, even if he can't play on Saturday, it makes sense, right?
Bro, you would ruin Carson Wentz if you do that shit to him.
Okay, well then go sign Phillip Rivers then.
There you go. Or
Coming back.
yeah, get Drew Brees out of retirement.
Oh man, then Wentz better than not come back until next year.
Let's see. All right, I'm gonna ask you guys this trivia. We do this a little bit once in a while. Here's trivia for you too. There's only one team. No, fuck that. I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna ask this. How many times has the Bears had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards in a season? Like Bret, your Matthew Stafford's thrown for 5,000, right?
Yeah.
How many times have the Bears have a long history of bad quarterback play. How many times in franchise history have the Bears had a 4,000-yard passer?
No, none.
Dustin, what do you say?
I'm gonna have to agree. I don't think they've ever had a 4,000-yard passer.
Man, screw you guys. You're both right, though. You're both right. The Bears are the only team in NFL history to never have a 4,000-yard passer.
That's
That
awesome.
surprises me. Back when Mike Ditka coached and everything.
Yeah, the closest was Eric Kramer with 3,838 yards.
Oh,
That's amazing, bro.
That's hilarious.
Hilarious to you. You're a
Yeah.
Lions fan. Hopefully Justin Fields can fix that here soon. That's embarrassing as hell, bro.
That's embarrassing is right.
Bears winnable game in week 16, home game against the 4-11 Giants. So maybe the Bears will get to 6 wins. I hope that doesn't convince this incompetent ass ownership to be like, hey, look, we won a couple games at the end of the year. Let's keep Matt Nagy. Hopefully we fire him. And hopefully, I don't care about your guys' winning record over there in Michigan, Bret. We're trying to steal Jim Harbaugh. We're gonna offer him make him an offer he can't refuse to leave Michigan.
Bro, he's getting paid way more at Michigan than he's ever gonna get paid in Chicago.
We're gonna triple that shit, bro. We're gonna give him like John Gruden money.
Good.
If he loses on Friday, I think he'll take the Chicago Bears job.
You better watch it, man. It's coming. Hey, guess what?
Lions with an opportunity to get their third win at Seattle. Bro, the Seahawks are playing bad football. Maybe the Lions can steal a win.
Man, we need the best draft pick we can get.
See, you're not even trying to win. And Dan Campbell's over there trying to get every win he can. You're trying to get the best draft pick.
No, I want to win, though. Like, I wanted them to beat the Falcons, of course. But at the same time, I wasn't sad.
Yeah. I know, I get that. It's kind of a catch-22.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Let's go Steelers Chiefs. So, bro, Dustin, I'm gonna pick the Steelers to go into Arrowhead and get a win. I know it's not likely, but it's like, hey, the Steelers have a long history of pride. They play hard on defense. They got weapons. Big Ben, who knows? No Travis Kelce in this game. The Chiefs blow the Steelers out 36-10. This was never a game. Fuck the Steelers, man. The Steelers can't even show up to this game, Dustin.
Yeah, it was surprising to me. The Steelers just showed that they shouldn't even been there, man. I mean, they didn't care to even play, I don't think.
Bro, screw the Steelers the rest of this year. I'm not picking them again. They pissed me off. They showed no heart. There's no Travis Kelce, double Tyreek Hill. This should have been a game. That's no excuse to get blown out. What do you think, Bret? Steelers are fighting. What do you think, Dustin? The Steelers are fighting for their playoff lives, and they get blown out 36-10. It wasn't even competitive. That was embarrassing.
I absolutely agree. It was embarrassing, and I mean, just like you, I believed in the history of the Pittsburgh defense. I mean, they've always had good defense, and I thought they'd be able to slow Pat Mahomes down, but Man, it was terrible.
Yeah, what did you think, Brett? I mean, the Steelers can't even be competitive with the Chiefs with their playoffs lives on the line. They get blown out. Like, very disheartening loss by the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm not sure what. Like I said, since they tied the Lions, their season has gone completely downhill, and it showed even more so with this game because they got obliterated, and it wasn't even close. Like there was no sign of hope for them whatsoever from any standpoint.
Yeah, ridiculous. So Chiefs win their 8th straight game. I mean, talk about red hot. There is no team in football hotter than the Kansas City Chiefs right now. The Chiefs look destined to go on another playoff run and be back in the Super Bowl. And my preseason prediction was Bucks Chiefs rematch. And so it could be. And I don't want the Chiefs to be back in the Super Bowl, so I hope I'm wrong there. I'm hoping for Patriots or somebody else. But the Chiefs are absolutely firing on all cylinders. But this is, like we said, they got to go to Cincy. So it's the hottest team in football going to Cincy, a big ass prove it game for the Bengals. I can't wait for this one. Brett, are you going to pick the Bengals? Do you think they can pull that off?
I think the way that they've been playing, yeah, if they can play the way that they did this past week, I don't see why they wouldn't, especially at home. The crowd's going to be hype.
Yeah. I'm picking Cincy, but that's must-watch football. Dustin, so disheartening loss for the Steelers. They're going to host, so Monday Night Football next week, 7-8 Browns, who haven't looked that good, at the 7-7-1 Steelers, who look terrible. Who you taking, Browns at Steelers? And doesn't even matter. I think both teams missed the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with Cleveland just because I think that, they only lost to the best team in football by 2 points. And then, the Chiefs, who are, arguably maybe the second best team in football, they blew out the Steelers. So I'm going to just go with Browns.
What do you think, Brett? Browns at Steelers?
Yeah, I think the Browns have a little bit of a redemption game. The Steelers just don't look like they have anything left.
Yeah, they kind of look like they're quitting.
Almost.
Yeah. And the Browns at least fought hard against Green Bay, made it a game.
Right.
Let's go Broncos Raiders. The Raiders beat the Broncos 17-13 to keep their playoff hopes alive. Raiders coming into Indy, right? Yeah, at Indy. Big game. I mean, Tito's going to be on next week, Dustin, so a lot of pride on the line for you two. Raiders at Colts. It looks like Carson Wentz is going to be good to go. You're feeling confident if Carson Wentz can go. What happens if Carson Wentz can't go? How confident are you then?
I mean, I'm obviously less confident, but I feel like if we can just run the ball and Sam Etlinger, who I think is obviously going to be the starter, can just move the ball enough to get into the red zone so Jonathan Taylor can score, I think we'll be okay just because our defense is going to get Darius Leonard and Rocky Yassin back. So I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, and protect the ball. I mean, that's most importantly. I think the defense could, force a takeaway, a touchdown. I think Jonathan Taylor can carry the offense, really, especially if your offensive line is back. What's your gauge on the Raiders? The Raiders aren't playing. I know they got a win here over the Broncos, but the Raiders are kind of back and forth. I don't know what to think of this team either.
Yeah, I mean, they can be dangerous, but then again, they also haven't played well at times too. And, and Sam Etlinger brings the dimension of being able to use his legs because he is a fast quarterback. And I think that's what's going to slow the Raiders defense down.
Okay. Brett, what do you think? I mean, the Raiders, once they lost John Gruden, they really lost the season. Then they lost their star young wide receiver, Henry Ruggs, after that, DUI. The Raiders kind of, just lost the season at that point, lost their identity. I don't expect the Raiders to make the playoffs or be a real threat. Do you think they can kind of retool and be back, be a strong team next year? Or are they flawed? I mean, what do you think of Derek Carr and the Raiders?
I think they're just kind of flat. They have been for a couple of years. They haven't shown much. They've had a lot of drama this season that probably won't help in the offseason and play into things as far as free agency and whatnot. So,
I mean, they're talented. Like, they should have made the playoffs here a couple of these years.
Right, and they haven't, and I think it's only going to go downhill from there because they could have built off of those seasons and they didn't. So I don't think they've lived up to expectations, and it's going to be disappointing.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested in talking to Tito next week and see what his thoughts are on this team. And I think the head coach hire this offseason is going to be key for the Raiders. I'm sure they're going to go big game hunting again. They want a guy like Gruden. Gruden's gone. Gruden can't coach in the NFL for a while here. But go get a big name to command the locker room and bring the hype back to the Raiders. Maybe someone like, what do you think, Dustin? Maybe someone like John Fox or something. Someone that can provide a spark. What do you think?
Yeah, they need, in my opinion, a big splash, though. Being out in Vegas and
a proven winner, Maybe
yeah.
Like Jim Caldwell could be a real good fit there if he doesn't go to Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jim Caldwell, again, Doug Peterson.
Maybe, yeah.
Just get somebody who's been an NFL head coach. Don't go to the college ranks.
What would be crazy? Get someone like Eric Bieniemy and reignite that rivalry with Kansas City.
That'd be cool, but I was thinking somebody like Josh McDaniels. I think he would be great.
All those are real interesting names. All would be, I think, could be good fits. And then Bret, Broncos 7-8 Broncos at the 8-7 Chargers next week. Chargers, Broncos are probably done. They need to figure out the quarterback position. They're going to be all in on Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson this offseason. They need a major quarterback upgrade. Do you think Justin Herbert and the Chargers can bounce back, get a home win here, get to 9-7, and maybe sneak into the playoffs?
Just the way that they've been playing, I don't think that they do have to win out, most likely.
Yeah.
And I just don't see that happening. They have the opportunity, like we said. Pretty sure you said, yeah, it's Denver and Oakland, or the Raiders, which are winnable games, but also very losable the way that they've been playing.
Yeah, I still think the Chargers are the better of those two. I think they can win both those games, so maybe they can sneak in. But my confidence meter in the Chargers right now is not high, especially losing to the Texans the way they did. So they got to prove us all wrong. They got to prove that Texans loss was a fluke.
Is Teddy playing?
No, Drew Lock started this last game.
Oh, yeah, I'm going Chargers.
Yeah, Lock's done, right? Lock's a backup at this point. Lock had opportunity after opportunity. He had potential. He just doesn't have it, at least in Denver.
If the Broncos believed in him, they never would have went out and got Teddy Bridgewater.
Exactly. And they don't believe in either because they're going to go get Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson. Or, worst case scenario, someone like Matt Ryan. Let's go Sunday Night Football, where, you turn the TV on and the game was over. Cowboys score 21-0 and take a 42-7 halftime lead and win 56-14. Bret, this Cowboys team is looking dominant. We're going to overreact to this one game, but it's not just the offense. It's not just Dak. It's not just the playmakers on offense. That defense is real. If that defense plays the way they've been playing this year, taking the ball away, scoring on defense, that defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense, in my opinion. Do you agree?
Yeah, they're playing well enough really, if this offense scores the way that they are, it won't really matter what the defense is doing.
Yeah.
But the defense is playing well enough to where if their offense isn't playing up to par, that they can still carry them through the playoffs.
I mean, it's not just Trayvon Diggs, who's leading the league in interceptions with 11.
He's
Ties a Cowboys franchise record with 11 picks. It's not just rookie linebacker Micah Parsons with 13 sacks, the most ever by a Cowboys rookie. Then you add Randy Gregory, DeMarcus Lawrence, Dustin. That Cowboys D is balling. Credit to Dan Quinn. And even if the Cowboys offense slips a little at times, that defense should be able to carry them.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, I think, messaging you and saying that that's definitely a championship defense.
Yeah. And then you got Dak Prescott throwing for 330, 4 touchdowns, no turnovers. This, of all the years, this is the year that the Cowboys have the right recipe to go on a deep playoff run. How deep, we'll see, because they got to prove they can beat Tom Brady. They got to prove they can beat Aaron Rodgers. They got to prove they can beat Stafford and the Rams. But they have the potential to.
Yeah,
What
it's
do you
going to
think,
be
Bret?
interesting.
Yeah.
It's going to be real fun to see the playoffs this year. The NFC for sure, because it's so talented there with all the teams at the top. I mean, it's throughout just the whole that side is going to be all those games are going to be great.
This week, Cardinals, 10-5 Cardinals on a 3-game losing streak at the 11-4 Cowboys. I mean, my money, I push it all my stack into the middle. I'm all in. Cowboys are winning this game.
Yeah, I'm never going for the Cardinals the rest of the season. So Cowboys are winning, but I was gonna say real quick, imagine if Mike McCarthy goes into Lambeau and beats the Green Bay Packers.
That would be a hell of a storyline. I don't really see it happening. I mean, if you tell me Cowboys at Packers deep in the playoffs, whether it's divisional or NFC championship game, I am going to have a very hard time picking the Cowboys. I just am.
All right.
You know, I get the feeling you are the same way.
Yeah, I mean, I would have a difficult time picking them, but I wouldn't be surprised either.
Man, I would. If they go into Lambeau and beat Green Bay, I'll tell you what. So I've been hating on the Packers and telling you you're crazy for believing the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl or go back to the Super Bowl this year. There's only one team in the NFC, I believe, that can go into Green Bay, into Lambeau, and win in January. And you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, Tampa Bay. But
yes,
if Rodgers wins his second MVP in a row, can you finally give him credit?
Well, I mean, I'll give him credit now. He's a damn good quarterback. That's why I say, if not for Tom Brady in the NFC, I would be like, man, the Packers are probably going back to the Super Bowl. I mean, Bret, we've seen a hell of a lot of Aaron Rodgers games in the division. Yeah. You've got to have a lot of faith in Aaron Rodgers to win in January right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anybody,
besides Tom Brady, probably, right?
Maybe. I mean, even then, Rodgers plays really well in the playoffs, and
yeah,
it's hard to go to root. It's easy to root against him, but to say that he's not going to win, that's difficult because he's been there and he has the experience, and that's just expected. And
then you sprinkle in a little home referee magic, and you got a perfect recipe.
if they played the Lions in the playoffs, they would be. Man, yeah. They should have, bro. It's ridiculous. I watched a YouTube clip the other day that showed like worst calls in the NFL in the last 3 years. There was like 15 clips, and the Green Bay got the advantage in like 10 of them.
Yeah, they always do. But I mean, I gotta stop talking about this. Amanda's gonna get pissed at me. So,
get over
it. So Cardinals at Cowboys. Are we all picking Dallas?
Yeah, yeah.
I would say yeah.
Cardinals got to prove it, man. Cardinals had the best record for a lot of the season, and the national media all supported them. That now they're at a point where they got to prove us, prove us wrong, because we're no longer believers in the Cardinals. So I think Cowboys get that win, and the Cardinals will be on a 4-game losing streak with the playoffs right around the corner. Eagles at Washington. I'm picking Eagles, but that could be a tough game. Let's go Monday night. Dolphins at Saints. Miami comes in red hot. We talk about the Chiefs being the hottest team in football. Dolphins right there. Dolphins are the first team in NFL history to have a 7-game losing streak and a 7-game winning streak in the same season. How incredible is that?
You can only really have one opportunity to do that, and that's either the first 7 or 8 games or in the last. That's insane.
This is why we love sports, though. If you put that in a movie, no one would ever believe it.
Right.
That's why we love sports, because anything can happen.
But
Go ahead.
that goes to show just how good of a coach Brian Flores is. I mean, he had a team that was down
1-7.
Yeah, 1-7, down on a lot of adversity, and then they get on a 7-game win streak, right?
Yeah, and might make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, give that guy credit, man. Coach of the year if they make the playoffs.
Absolutely. Most teams are like quitting at 1-7. Most teams are like, all right, our season's done. And the Dolphins said, nope, we're gonna keep fighting, because at 1-7, one more loss, you're about out.
Yeah.
And
They stepped it up.
yeah, a lot of credit. It'd be a hell of a story if they make the playoffs. So I'm rooting for the Dolphins. Big win over the Saints, 20-3. Dustin, your Notre Dame quarterback, Ian Book. I mean, I don't know how much faith you had in him going into this game, but he didn't play very well. Dolphins get the easy win. What's your thoughts on Ian Book?
Well, first of all, teams need to stop drafting Notre Dame quarterbacks, okay? They're not very, all right. I'm gonna admit that firsthand. They're not very good. But Ian Book, I mean, he had his debut struggles, but man, in my opinion, he should have stayed one more year in college.
Yeah. Yep.
You know that was the 24th straight loss by a Notre Dame quarterback in the NFL.
Jesus.
Don't remind me of that, Brett. Yes.
Well, it
Deshaun
doesn't
Kaiser?
help. It
Deshaun
doesn't
Kaiser
help.
lost 15 straight games. That's ridiculous.
Who's the last one to win?
Probably Jim Dustin.
No,
Nope.
it was Brady Quinn.
For the
Brady
Chiefs.
Quinn. Brady Quinn.
And he started the streak. He's got the first 4 losses, and then it goes Clausen 4, Kaiser 15, and then now last night's is the last one.
I'll just say, you know what's really dragging Notre Dame down, though? I mean, it's not like, I know it sucks to be mentioning that, but you know who the biggest culprit is in that?
Who?
Damn, Deshaun Kaiser.
That's what I'm saying. 15 straight losses, bro. What the hell?
Deshaun Kaiser should have stayed another year. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So good win for the Dolphins. So the Dolphins, all right, here's another big game this week. 8-5 Dolphins at the 10-5 Titans. Ooh. Dolphins on a 7-game winning streak. I know you're going Dolphins, Dustin. Do you think the Dolphins can actually pull it off? I'm leaning Titans here to end the streak. What do you think?
This one's close, man, but, I told you last week, I'm going to admit, I'm a Titans hater.
You're just picking against the Titans every week at this point.
Yeah.
I like that you admit it. Bret, who do you think? Dolphins at Titans. Tough game for Miami to keep their streak going.
First of all, Dustin's salty. Second of all, I definitely going to have to go with the Titans in this one. They're playing way too well. They know that they're about to get Henry back. They got some momentum on their side after last week's win. And they're just better.
Yeah. I'm going Titans as well, but this is a big prove-it game for the Dolphins, because if they can win this, you're talking like 8-9 game winning streak going into the playoffs. That could potentially, every year we talk about teams that come into the playoffs hot, and the 6th seed that goes on a deep playoff run like the Giants and goes and wins a championship. The Dolphins would be a scary team. No one wants to face the Dolphins if you're on an 8-game winning streak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially the way Waddle's playing too. Like he's unstoppable right now.
And that defense in Miami is nasty.
Yeah, they scored yesterday. Yeah, they've been playing really well.
Yeah.
Let me say this.
Yeah.
I want Tennessee in the first round.
That would be, I mean, like you talk about, that doesn't deserve to be a first round. That deserves to be a conference championship matchup. That's 2 heavy hitters matching up in the first round, bro.
Hey, you know what? I just want revenge, okay?
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think Colts Titans would be a hell of a playoff game. And it would be a great game because, I mean, like I said, it's 2 heavy hitters playing some of their best football. The Titans are playing good football. And when you reintroduce Derrick Henry to that team, I'm telling you, they're contenders, bro. So Titans are going to be a team to keep an eye on.
I don't know why you would want to play them in Tennessee, bro. You're going to be sitting at home next week watching the playoffs from the couch.
Well, he wants revenge. He doesn't want to lose 3 straight to them. But, I mean, that's a tough matchup, Dustin.
That's asking. Careful what you wish for.
How come it's always mentioning of Derrick Henry, but nobody ever gives Jonathan Taylor credit for what he's doing?
Well, and I'll tell you this, and you got to point to that, but I'll tell you why. Because what Derrick Henry does to the Titans means more to Tannehill, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones than what Jonathan Taylor does for Carson Wentz. Like, the Titans' ceiling, I believe, is higher than the Colts, but the Colts' ceiling is still very high. Titans are very much Super Bowl contenders. I don't think the Colts are quite enough Super Bowl contenders because I have a question mark on Carson Wentz.
See, but Carson Wentz needs Jonathan Taylor.
Absolutely. You're right. And so if the Colts the Colts and Titans are built very similar. They're almost mirror images of each other. And one other thing I'll say, I trust Mike Vrabel more than I trust Frank Reich.
I can agree with you on that one.
Yeah. So, but if they play each other, it's a 3-point game, bro. It's going down to the wire. It might go to overtime.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah. So, all right, quickly, Week 17 matchups. Chiefs at Bengals. I'm going Cincy.
Cincy.
Bret?
Yeah, Cincy.
All right, we're all going Cincy. Dolphins at Titans. I'm going Titans.
Miami.
Titans.
All right. Raiders at Colts. I'm going Colts.
Colts.
All right. Rams at Ravens. FU Baltimore. I'm going Rams.
Rams.
LA.
Rams. Man, I actually think the Ravens might win this, especially if they get Lamar back. And I want to see the Rams lose. But screw the Ravens, man. Based on principle alone, screw you, John Harbaugh.
You're mad.
It's my emotions talking right there. Cardinals at Cowboys. I'm going Cowboys.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dallas.
Screw you, Arizona. You're fraud. Arizona Fraudinals. And then Monday Night Football. I don't know why I even included this one. I'm not even gonna screw it. I'm not picking that one. So yeah, that's about it. I'm gonna see if there's one other game I wanted to pick, but it's gonna be a fun week 17. I can't wait. So Chiefs Bengals, bro, game of the week, man. I can't wait for that one.
What time is that on?
I'm pulling it up right now. My internet's being dumb, so
If
bear
it's
with
in
me.
Cincy, it's probably 1:00.
I think it is 1:00, but it should be 4:15. It's that big of a game. There's a lot of 1:00 games this week because there's no Thursday night, no Saturday like there's been. Yeah, 1 o'clock. Chiefs at Bengals. Go Bengals, man.
Oh man, I can't watch that game because the Colts will be playing the Raiders.
You gotta get 2 screens going for that one. Dolphins at Titans. We talked about.
We forgot to pick the Packers and Vikings.
We can do Packers Vikings. That's Sunday night football. I don't think it's going to be that good of a game. I got Packers. Vikings. They look like the Vikings are damn close to quitting. Honestly.
Yeah,
I
I'd
got
say Green Bay.
Yeah. You got Packers, Dustin.
yeah. That Monday night game was the Browns and the Steelers.
Yeah, we'll pick it. I mean, I don't know who to pick. You guys go first. I don't know who to pick. Browns at Steelers.
I'm going Cleveland.
Going Cleveland. I mean, what do you think, Dustin?
I mean, based on the performance from Sunday, I had to go Cleveland.
Yeah, man. The Steelers just look like they had no heart, like they quit. And Mike Tomlin, everyone talks about Mike Tomlin being the best coach in football and all this shit. It looks like they've quit on him. It does. And it looks like Big Ben needs to retire. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
Isn't Sunday his last game anyways?
Why?
Didn't he already say that he's not coming back?
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, he's got another week. Week 18.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be watching that one just to see the end of an era.
Yeah. I'm going to go Steelers just because I don't like Baker Mayfield either. Like, the Browns aren't any good. You know what I mean?
No.
But, I mean, this was fun. A lot of fun talking football. 2 hours of great talk. Good to have you back on, Bret.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll get you on for the playoffs. Next week we're gonna do me, Dustin, Tito, but we'll get you on for the playoffs maybe week 18. Maybe we'll do me, you, and Rich week 18 or the playoffs, maybe week 18. But we've got like an all-star cast of interviews coming up for the playoffs. We've already got 2 booked. So stay tuned on that, guys. If you aren't subscribed yet, subscribe because these playoffs are going to be hype. And the football action is going to be hype. The matchups, Cincy, Kansas City this weekend, must-watch football. Thanks, guys, for coming on. Great content as always. You guys always bring it. Good football knowledge, guys.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks for having me.
And we'll keep these episodes coming out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. And have a great week. Peace out.